Hello, happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to the Arsenal BiteSize Podcast. I'm FPL Nima, and I'm joined by my co-host Clayton at Clates AFC on Twitter. We're here to review the kind of return to winning ways, I suppose, after four winless games in the Premier League with a 3-1 victory against Chelsea, and to preview the big game on Sunday against Newcastle again, which I've still got a bit of PTSD from last year's game at their stadium. But how did it feel to go back to winning ways for you, Clayton, and especially against Chelsea out of all the teams to go and batter? I think I was very happy it was them.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it? The atmosphere was funny, like seeing Chelsea get battered and stuff. And yeah, I just thought the mood was just good. I think we all kind of needed that. Obviously, second half was quite disappointing, but that first half just felt like something we all needed after quite a tough April. And yeah, it felt easy. It was first half was a piece of piss, weren't it? And I think it was something that yeah, we just felt like we needed that to kind of get. You could see it in the players as well, like the confidence kind of grew as they were playing with the game. And you could see it with the crowd as well. Like obviously the Ashburton Army left when they came back. I think that coincided with like us scoring a few minutes after they came back as well. And yeah, the vibes were just good. But being very like high standards FC, I was very disappointed with the second half, if I'm being honest. But overall, yeah, good result. Back to winning ways. I think people are going a little bit overboard with things because like Chelsea are dog, like they are really bad.
Yeah.
But you can only beat what's in front of you, though, right? So yeah, it was good. And similar to you, though, like I'm still getting over my PTSD from last year in Newcastle. So
Obviously, you
yeah,
went to it as well, didn't you? You watched that one live, but
yeah, that was a long day. Like I remember, yeah, because I went there and back in a day on the coach, and I got back at like 6, 7 a.m. and then had to work. Like, yeah. Now at the time I was working with a Spurs fan as well, so obviously like first call was like 9:30 in the morning with a Spurs fan in your face. I was like, fuck off. But yeah, let's put that behind us. See if we can do it a bit different. But yeah, should we go straight into the Chelsea game?
yeah, I think so.
Huge
Let's
lineup
get.
changes.
Yeah, I guess just I'll put the data up on screen anyway while we talk about it. But yeah, I was quite surprised. I thought maybe Trossard would come in for maybe Jesus. And
Same.
Martinelli was an option as well, I guess. But that's kind of the only change I thought would happen. I didn't expect to see Kivior get his first kind of Prem start in place of Holding. I didn't expect to see kind of Jorginho get a start. But, looking back
Um,
at it against his former club and stuff, I guess there is something there in that. But yeah, I was quite pleased. I felt like we kind of needed some changes after how
You
things
were
had
at the
been
game
going.
as well, weren't you?
Yeah, exactly. So I was just by the away fans actually. So I was
Oh, is
just
it?
sitting I was just sitting like right above them, and I could just at the beginning they were obviously very cheerful, but that quickly died down.
Yeah, I saw some tweets from their fans saying that was their best away end of the season and stuff. And I mean, you were closer to them than I was, but I thought they were crap. Like they had a
Yeah.
period where they sang, but I thought their away end was shocking. Which like you'd expect being 3-0 down London Derby and stuff. But just the fact that I was seeing claims from them on like, oh yeah, that was one of our best aways of the season. I was like, how shit are your fans if that's one of your best? Like that doesn't come close. That doesn't their best doesn't come close to one of our worst. Like yeah, I didn't. Yeah, it's very nice seeing Chelsea struggle. I fucking hate them and everything about them. Like the way they've kind of come to where they are as a football club, like how they've done it, like they're such a tin pot club historically. Like they were literally trying. Do you remember the Save the Bridge and all of that? Like having to
Yeah.
auction themselves to save themselves as a football club. So I really hope this continues, like them in this trajectory, and I really hope the kind of long-term contracts and spending comes back to bite them, and they don't manage to sell what they need. But I
Yeah,
fucking
they're in a
despise
bit of
them.
a
I really do.
situation, aren't they? Like what they've kind of done with committing so many players, they're kind of locked in with all of them for a long time. So I guess they're gonna have to sell some if they want to buy more because they've genuinely just gone and completely fucked themselves a bit, if you really think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, literally. But yeah, going back to the actual game, though, I was the same as you. When I saw the line, I think my predicted lineup was I think I said Trossard in for Jesus, and I just thought the
Mm.
rest would be the same. I thought it'd be Xhaka in midfield, Xhaka, Partey, Odegaard. I thought Holding would play again. Because going into the game, like I know we've seen it now, but going into the game, I was just adamant Arteta wouldn't do the two left footers at centre back thing, but he did it. And yeah, it'd be good to have a discussion on that because that's the thing I think people are going a bit OTT on personally in terms of how well Kiwior did and stuff. But
Yeah,
in terms
I
of the
think the
actual,
opposition is important to keep in mind. Like people hear Chelsea and they just think of the Chelsea of old, but this is a team that if the season went on a few more games, they'd probably get relegated. So
honestly,
I
I
would think,
genuinely
like,
believe that. You know,
genuinely, yeah,
if the season
they're
was like 5 games
terrible.
longer, I actually think they'd go down. That's insane.
They're so bad, honestly. I think they are one of the worst teams in the Prem today. Like they're just shockingly bad. So I wouldn't read too much into kind of beating them. To be perfectly
No.
honest, I think the Newcastle game will be a whole different kettle. Like that's going to be both teams trying to really go for it there. So I think that's quite interesting. With Kiwior, one thing I would say is like I think we knew he was quite athletic when he arrived and broke all the kind of records from like standing jump, spring jump, sprints. He beat like Walcott, Henry, all these guys. Like he's very rapid. So, and I
Yeah.
think we saw it when he subbed on, wasn't it, against Liverpool, and he made that run, and that was about all he had to show that day. But this was his first proper start, and I think people are going overboard again, saying like, "Oh, they're upset because now that they've seen him play, they're like, why didn't we play him sooner?"
Yeah. And
I think
it's
that's
like
the bit
there's no.
going overboard. Like from what I've understood, right, from what they've said in the interviews, like he can't speak English yet, barely, and he had no idea what was going on around him in a new country, in a new club, in a new
Yeah.
environment. I think now they're saying he's settling a bit, and he's starting to feel like he's at home, and he's understanding what they need from him, and so I think maybe now was just the time when he was ready. Like maybe just unfortunately he wasn't ready a few games before when we wanted him, right? Like
Yeah.
I think it's as simple as that.
I think it's that, but also like people. Okay, fair. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it had he played against West Ham and Southampton, yeah, possibly as a team we go on and win those games because we're playing higher up. Like they've got the confidence and stuff. But one thing I'll flip back to that is the Southampton game we conceded so early, and I feel like everyone's pinning things on Rob Holding. That first goal was not on Rob Holding, the one that set us up to kind of struggle for the rest of the game. So I'm not sure Kiwior playing in that Southampton game would have changed anything about that first goal, which then set the tone for the rest of the game. Like,
Our
and I
whole
just think it's
plan would have changed, right? So it's kind of like imagine we had a tactical game plan with Holding in it, and we were going to play slightly differently than when Saliba plays in that slot. And 20 seconds in, we can't execute that plan anymore
yeah,
because we've already done what
exactly.
we did.
So, yeah, so I just think it. I can understand where people are coming from, but like I just think it's very easy with hindsight to say that. But the one thing I just want to say, just while we're talking about him, is like he was very
Mm.
impressive. Like he looked very good, but I do think you can't take too many conclusions from one of the worst coherent attacks this season I've seen us play. Like there was no structure to their press, like or anything they were doing. And one thing I'm a little bit nervous for, like so the two left footers at centre back, what I talk about. I think we're going to see the limitations of that on Sunday when we play Newcastle, who actually press as a team. And because I don't think people picked up on this, and I don't know if it's because I overanalyze things, but Kiwior was limited in his angles where he was passing, and we got away with it because
Mm.
Chelsea were dog shit. But the angles he had when he got the ball were so limited that he had to kind of channel it into one area of the pitch, and that wasn't a problem against Chelsea because we had Jorginho there. Like we were controlling the ball, it was easy, it was fine. But against a team like Newcastle, they're very clever in the way they press and they're very physically imposing. I think we may see a limitation of this that I think Arsenal fans have just kind of completely glossed over because he looked good against Chelsea. Therefore, he's the best thing since sliced bread because Rob Holding set the bar so low, sort of thing. But don't get me wrong, I think he's a very good player. Well, I don't know that. From what I've seen, I can tell he's got potential. He
Yeah,
did
he's
very
very
well, but
young, so he's an
I just
exciting
think
prospect.
yeah, I just think people are getting a little bit carried away and maybe ignoring things that could be a problem. But maybe that's just me being over analytical on it.
So something interesting actually, because I mentioned this to a few people I know about, like kind of the two left footers at centre back. Because you do often see two right footers at centre back, but you
It's
don't really
so
see
different
two
though.
left footers, and that's what I mean. So I was trying to understand like why that was, and this account on Twitter, EBL, who I don't know, he's fallen off a
Oh,
bit, but he's fallen off a
yeah.
bit, but so he kind
He's
of
like
answered the question.
Marmite, isn't he? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You either
yeah.
love him or hate him. I don't know what I
Same with
like.
none with thing. They're both kind of these kind of fake keyboard Pep Guardiolas out there. But
Yeah.
But he said it was
Tacticos.
around kind of the reason he said you don't see so many two left-footed centre back pairings is because like they're typically left footers for whatever reason are typically more gifted with their preferred foot than a right footer is, and that results in an over reliance and over usage of it as they develop. So he says right footers, on the other hand, are forced to use both, whereas left footers end up becoming more reliant and one footed, whereas right footers are a bit more aware of using both. And then
Interesting.
someone else added left footers are more rare than right footers. So left footers will almost always play left centre back. Most teams have two right footed centre backs, so they need to train their weak foot more. So it's also because there's so few left footed centre backs that if you are left footed centre back, you will just slot in at left centre back.
Yeah,
So you're not
it's
really being
interesting.
forced to train the other angles. Whereas
Yeah.
other centre backs who are right footed, like, I think it was Plonker I was speaking to, Aaron, and he said that obviously at the game week 39 match in the FPL community, he got like told to play right centre back and he's a left
Oh,
footer
what
and
is he
he
left-footed?
never played that. And he was like, what the fuck? Like, he didn't know what
It's
was
a
going on.
Yeah, it's a lot more unnatural, and I couldn't tell you why, but like if you're a right-footed person playing left centre back, the angles are a little bit more open to you compared to if you're a left-footed centre back playing on the right side. And
Mm.
I don't know why that is, but it is the case. And like even just picture yourself there. It's easier if you're on the left as a right-footed person to play the pass out to the left than the other way around. And I, d- I don't know what that is, but it's a thing, right? Like you don't see it at the top level, and that's for a reason, because of how much it does limit you in your build up. And I think, yeah, like I say, it was fine. He did very well. There was lots of really positive things to take away from it. I'm just a little bit cautious that that is the kind of blueprint that's gonna save us, sort of thing.
I don't know if he's even gonna start against Newcastle, but I guess we'll talk about that in the
We'll talk about
preview.
that. Yeah.
We'll talk more about the Chelsea game. So I guess from your perspective, like, what do you think like the Chelsea tactic was? Because to me, it looked like it was
I
passion
don't,
over tactics.
literally, yeah. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Like, and even one thing I noticed about us was when we were pressing, I noticed Odegaard was literally up next to Jesus. It kind of looked like we were. This was a quite a big change I'd seen in us, but and I don't know if it was because Kivior was in the team, we were able to kind of press a bit higher up the pitch and yeah, push up that 5-10 yards that we've not been able to with holding in. But I noted we were kind of pressing in like a 4-4-2, and they just couldn't get out. And it was really nice to see for us. And I think, like I said, you could see us just grow into the game. And it just felt like there was a period before the first goal where I just felt like we were in control, but we weren't really getting clear openings.
Mm.
And then the goal was like it just our goal just felt like sheer kind of Liverpool of old. It's just like they just keep knocking, and you just know the house is going to fall down.
Yeah,
It just felt
eventually,
like that, and it was a really nice move. I think it was Xhaka, maybe he was on the left, passed it through into Odegaard, and what a finish that was! Like that's not easy.
Xhaka definitely has that kind of cutback in his locker. I've seen it a few times. But I felt like the two goals that Odegaard scored, they were almost identical. I think the first one was maybe a better finish, but it was just crazy, right? Like that finish for the first one from Odegaard, I was like, wow, like
Yeah,
this guy has gone on to become like everything we didn't think he had, which is like we knew he was a great gifted playmaker. But when he came on loan, like I think maybe most of us would have felt like he didn't have that killer instinct in front of
yeah,
goal. And now I don't know if you've seen the stat, but he's obviously on 14 non-penalty goals from midfield,
which is wild.
and
Yeah,
he's one away from breaking the Premier League record, all-time record.
is it?
The highest ever non-penalty goal scored by any midfielder in the Prem is 15, and he's on
Wow.
14 now.
So
And
what?
I'm just
I'm
like,
guessing that was
holy shit.
Lampard, right?
So I think he might already have like caught him and others, but there was
Holy
like
shit.
yeah, I'm just having a quick look. I don't know if I've saved the exact thing, but let me see because it's actually wild because he's on 14. I think there's a few players on 15 or 14, so
Yeah.
he's close with a few of them.
And that's
But when you
do you
see the
remember
names, like you're like, holy shit.
and do you remember the thing I was talking about in pre-season? The thing I was very like we were both talking about Arteta's aspiration to get to like 100 goals, and we were trying to reverse engineer it. Like, where's that coming from? And the thing I was so confident in was like our number eights becoming goal scorers, because you could see it in the back end of last season as we were tweaking to like the number eights arriving in the box. You could see it with Xhaka, even though the output wasn't there per se. But that's one thing that it
Mm.
was clear for people who were watching our patterns of play that was going to come. And yeah, I mean, I mean, don't get me wrong, I didn't think it would be 14 non-penalty goals for Odegaard, but yeah, It's really nice to
Yeah,
see.
so I've got it here. Yeah, so it says the most ever non-penalty goals in Premier League season by midfielders. Kevin De Bruyne, 15 in 21-22 season last year. Yaya Toure, 14 in
Cool.
2013-2014 season. Frank Lampard with 13 in
Is
2009,
Ramsey in there?
2010. Gerrard with 12, 2008. Fabregas with 12, 2009.
Damn.
So, like, he's
Not bad
already on
company.
14, right? He's matched Yaya Toure, and he just has one more to match De Bruyne.
Yeah, that is wild.
That is wild when you think about it. It's really, it's kind of, in a way, like, we're going to get to the kind of the goal numbers that I thought we would never get to when Arteta was talking about 100 goal seasons and stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, I always believed in him, but I struggled to get my head around it. I was like, I just don't see where or how we're going to get to there. And like, okay, we may not get to 100 this season, but like, we're on the trajectory of a team that I think next season I think we'll get there. I'm very
Because we're on
confident.
81, right? And we have four
Yeah,
games to go. So I think we could still kind of
I
get
think we'll
close
do
to it.
90, but
I think what's frustrating is obviously we've done all this. We've got all these records, like with the Odegaard record that he might break soon. We're also the only team in Europe's top 5 leagues with at least 4 players with 10 plus league goals. So Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli, Jesus all have 10 plus league goals. Only team in all of Europe with that. And we have at least 3 players with 20 plus goal involvements in the Premier League. So it's
yeah,
like everything we didn't have, we've got. And yet here we are against a behemoth that has won 4 of the last 5 leagues, has the best manager of all time, has spent 6-7 years building this iteration of themselves, has brought in a guy who just broke the Premier League goal scorer record in 31 games against players who had 43 game seasons, and he still has games to go. And it's like, that's the fucking season that we've now come, and we've come all this
I'm
way, and
I'm
this is
gonna
what we've come up against.
I know. I'm going to say something that a lot of people may disagree on, but I actually, because I think we're only going to get better, I don't see us going backwards. I think this is our floor now, and we're just going to keep increasing the floor. I actually think for next season, it's in Arsenal's best interest if City go on to win the treble this year, as painful as it would be. Like that, and that's just like obviously, I would love us to win the league if we can, but just assuming we don't. The
Yeah,
reason I
if
think
we
that
don't,
is,
if they win the league, I want them to beat like United in the FA Cup and take out
yeah,
Madrid on the way to the final. Like,
and don't get me wrong, I don't like seeing another English team win the Champions League. But the reason I say it's in our best interest is, the drop off Liverpool had when they were like one game away from winning the quad. I don't think it will be quite like that with City, but I do think psychologically, how can you go and win? Like the treble is everything you could dream of as a professional footballer. How do you maintain that level? I don't think you do. And even if it is like at this top level that we're playing at, all you need is a 2% drop, and that's the difference.
mm,
And I just think these, like we saw it with our team last year where they missed out on top 4, and look how we came back this year. Like
they were
obviously we
hungry,
increased
yeah.
they were hungry, but we increased the quality as well as that. We're going to do the same again next season. And I've got no doubt in my mind. So I kind of think if City do go on to win the treble, they'll drop 2%, and that may be enough because I still think it's going to be us up there next year. People say Chelsea will improve, Liverpool will be back, United will be back. Yeah, fair enough, they might, but we're going to improve and go up a level too. And I think those others have too much work to do to get to a title challenge level, in my opinion.
So this is equally controversial, but in a different way. And I think that Arteta's coaching of the individual players in his system has blinded people into thinking that his squad build is complete for a challenge. He said he was in phase 3 of 5 and he's got there early.
Yeah,
He
I don't think that's
wants
controversial.
central midfielders. He wants another right-sided winger that's left-footed. He wants full-back cover. He probably wants another centre-back. He wants maybe another type of striker. Like, we are a long way away from the kind of the final assembled squad that
Yeah,
he wants in the
I'd say
way that
we're a
City
year
have
ahead of
theirs.
schedule.
Yeah, and we're still not even where we want to be yet,
Honestly,
really. Like,
like when you say about the phases, the way it's all interpretation, but my interpretation of that is like phase 3, which is where I think we are now, for them was probably about like maintaining a consistent domestic top 4 challenge, like quite comfortably.
yeah.
I think it's phase 4 which is where we're ahead of schedule, in my opinion, was about kind of competing for the league consistently and like not a one-off, like showing signs of sustainability,
like year
which I
in,
think
year out, yeah.
but which is what I think we've done in the manner we've done it this season. And then phase 5, in my opinion, is challenging for all honours and consistently
across
and
all competitions. Yeah,
that's how I interpreted it, and that's what I think we're a year ahead of schedule. I honestly believe that, and I'm so confident in the underlying processes underpinning this football club and what we're trying to do. It is so sustainable. Like I just for context, I slapped 50 quid on us to win the league next year, by the way. Just putting it out there. I've already done
nice. But you know, I think the reason I brought all this up is because we said before the kind of Chelsea game, when we were looking at the 5 games left before we obviously won, that it was really important that we don't now just fall off and let City walk away with it, but that we maintain the pressure all the way till the last day, till the end, till they have those 2 away games against Brighton and Brentford in the final week of the season with the Madrid ties. So I think that's the thing, right? Like, if we now go on and let's say if we won all 4 of what's left, and I'm not saying we will, but if we did, so I'm just looking at how many points. So we're on 78 points now. If we won all 4, right, we'd be on 90 points, right? Now, if we don't win the league on 90 points, then fair enough. Then that means City will have gone on a 14-game win run in the Premier League to get there.
And
which is like, what can I do about that, right?
Yeah, no one
but
else
I just want us to
stop
put that pressure on. And
exactly.
You know what's crazy? So the predictors, a lot of these predictor sites like 538 and these stuff, they currently have City set to finish on 89 points. So even now, from this position, they still have City on 89. So we like, if the predictions that they have for City go right, and we won all 4 of what we have left, we'd be on 90. So it's not all lost. I think there are still, I said it a few times, there's twists and turns to go. Obviously, West Ham, they had a bug or illness around the camp, so the whole first team got rested against City. If you ask me, that's just to avoid fines for like fielding a team that's illegal because it was too weak and throwing the match. Clearly, I think that they just wanted to rest their players for more winnable games. And you could call me a tinfoil hat guy, but I think they just made up the illness. But, you know, if I see proof of the illness, fair enough, but I don't trust them. I think it's bollocks. So fuck them because they took points from us and then rested their team against City. Wankers.
I hope Dan's watching.
No, Dan, I'm calling your manager out with his dark art tactics there. If you've got a real photo of someone being sick and food poisoned, then fair enough. But so far, I've just heard words and nothing more from the manager. Obviously, the Fulham game, they couldn't quite do it either, which is frustrating. It is what it is. They now go against a Leeds team that everyone has kind of said is relegated already. But you saw them Big Sam interviews.
Come on,
I think
Big
my
Sam.
man's coming. Come on, Big Sam. Do it for us.
He's going to park the dirtiest bus we've ever seen in our life.
I really hope he can do it, man. He obviously, did you see Pep responded? They asked him in the presser to prep. They were like, have you heard what Sam Allardyce said about how he doesn't think you and Klopp and Arteta are better than him? And he's like, same thing. And he was like, yeah, he's completely fucking right. He's like, just because someone's young and is a tinker coach and like tactician doesn't mean 30 years of being in the Prem from Big Sam is just forgotten. Bro, this guy's England's best ever manager. 100% win record. Who else can boast that shit? So England's best ever manager is coming to save.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not getting my hopes up, but you are right. It's not. It's not.
I'm just teasing you. This is just pure banter. Like if there's a team that's going to take the points, I don't think
it's the hope. It's the hope that's getting to me. It's like you dangling this little bit of hope in front of me. I'm like, don't do it. Get off. But back to the Chelsea game.
But whatever happens, the Chelsea game. So we talked about Odegaard's first goal. Should we talk about the second goal from Odegaard? Obviously the goal from Jesus shortly after in the 36th minute.
That was funny, wasn't it? It was like, was it? Like it was a great ball in.
I was there watching it, and it was a bit crazy because wasn't it? Did Xhaka take it? No, who took the shot? Xhaka took the shot.
Xhaka, but it's like he was falling as he did it, and he just like stabbed his leg at it. It was.
So he was falling. He kicked it. Keeper bounced it back out, right? And then like Jesus just was there. Like he just poached the fuck out of that. I thought it was a tight. It was a good finish to poach from. It was. It was tight. It was difficult, man. Yeah, it was pretty difficult. I thought.
Yeah, but it was. Yeah, even Odegaard's second goal was yeah, again, it's a nice move and it's a bit of a scruffy finish, but yeah, it went in. But like at 3-0, we were just coasting. And I think this is my, like, not trying to be negative, but like there are areas of this team that still I think there's a lot of room to grow where I just don't think we've got that ruthlessness or killer instinct in us still, where like, I don't know, we've shown it in some games, but 3-0 up, like I'm not saying we need to go and get 4, 5, 6, but like it wouldn't bloody hurt. And we have the quality and the game state was in our favor to go and do that. And I think even if you're not doing that, the like 200,000 passes he spoke about, which we're not even doing
Mm.
that. I don't know what happens, but like it's really frustrating because I feel like Arsenal, when winning comfortably, are kind of like one of the worst teams in the league right now.
Yeah, no, I do think so. And our numbers since the World Cup restart, or especially in the last 4 or 5, have really fallen off from a kind of expected goals conceded point of view, at least. This team, like at 3-1, what we didn't want to happen is that it became a scramble like some of the other games where we went 2 up at West Ham or 2 up at Anfield. That we couldn't let a team in this dire of form kind of come back at us. But the first half, we started at a crazy pace. Like we had a couple of sights on goal in the first few minutes.
Yeah.
I think that was Saka. Do you remember he had the looping header that kept us spilled, and then it was kind of
Oh
scrambled away?
yeah, I forgot about that.
So there was a few moments like Xhaka had one denied by Kepa at
When
close range.
Azpilicueta headed it back and he like
Mm.
proactively read it, right? And then
Exactly, he took it off
yeah,
Aspilicueta. Yeah, that was it because there was a loose back header. That's the one. So there was a few changes. So we saw there was some new life in the team. The changes to the lineup. We were trying to bounce back from the previous match. Everything looked good, but I still think that first goal from Odegaard, we can't understate how composed he was, and just it was
yeah.
such a classy finish, honestly. And that Xhaka low cross, like I say it, like I think he has that kind of
He's got it
cutback in his
locked.
locker. Yeah, he's got that in
Yeah.
his locker. And then obviously he went and did it again. It was pretty much a similar goal. We talked about the Jesus goal. That was a bit of as we know, a bit of a fortunate one, maybe in the sense that it was just a bit of a scramble in that box. But what do you think
But
about the
again, it's
second half
like
then?
the scramble in the box, but it's because of our structure and positioning. Like when
Mm,
we've got teams like boxed in, I just feel like we're always going to score. And like people will say, "Oh yeah, they're scrappy goals," but these scrappy goals become because of our like underpinning structure that makes people pin in. Like even the Nketiah winner against Man United, like on the face of it, it looks like a scrappy goal, but by sheer probability and just I don't know what the word is, repetitiveness of like you've got them pinned in, you're gonna just barge the door down. And that's the thing, like that's what it was nice to see us doing again, because I feel like we kind of lost an element of that in the last couple of well, in the month of April. But yeah, what did you think about their goal? I was quite
yeah,
annoyed
that's what
with
I was gonna
Zinchenko
say.
there.
Because that's quite annoying. Because obviously the second half started, and you would hope we'd carry on, you know, the way we went
Yeah.
about the first half. But so we did continue to pepper their goal at the start of the second half, but then
Also, are
kind
we
of
mentioning
obviously,
Aubameyang? He went off at halftime, didn't he?
oh, of course, I didn't even realize it was a halftime sub, but I know he had like 9 touches or something, and 4 of them were from
He
kickoff.
was non-existent. Do you see the video of him like in the pre-match
He
when he
looked
was singing?
emotional.
He looked full of regret. I thought, like I was, yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I see two types of Arsenal fans' opinions on this. Some are saying they
what's
feel
yours?
bad for him. Um, I probably feel bad for him, but I think
I
some
do.
people were saying he's a mercenary kind of F him, but I don't think that's fair. I think, look, like he is not made for a team that Arteta wanted that wants to control possession and
Yeah,
press the fuck out of the opponent all the way from the striker back. He's maybe made for a team that wants to play on the counter. And that playing on the counter won us an FA Cup when Arteta first arrived and maybe allowed him the freedom to you know, stay those years and get to this stage and build with the patience. And they asked Arteta how we should welcome Aubameyang back to the stadium, and he said with respect. And this guy, he
yeah.
delivered
He
us
said to be
silverware, and he was
grateful,
a
isn't
great
it?
servant of the
Yeah,
club. Yeah, like I think people are so quick to throw him in the same bucket as previous players who've left us, who've been upset at. And the reason I don't like it is I know he kind of downsized tools towards the end of it, as did Messi. But our whole lives we've been upset at our players leaving us in their kind of prime or like going to another club. And Ozil and Oba both stayed. Like they were
yeah,
the only two I can think of in the last 15 years that didn't abandon us. Now it didn't work out. They stayed and it wasn't good for us, and they went on huge salaries and did fuck all. But they kind of earned those contracts, and we used to complain that these players wouldn't stay. And then the two
Yeah,
that stayed, we're all shitting on them. Like I understand. Obviously, he went to Barca. That didn't quite work out. In a way, the reason I say I feel bad for him is because he obviously arrived at Chelsea, signed for Tuchel to play for Tuchel, and
yeah,
as soon as the window shut, they sacked him. So
yeah.
he didn't even get to play a minute, basically, for the guy he went to reunite with at that club. So I feel
Yeah,
bad in that sense.
I'm kind of similar to you, to be fair. Mine's more like he was a man child, right? Like
Yeah.
he
Oh,
was a,
yeah. 100%.
and like the we evolved as a football club beyond we became more mature, like beyond his level of immaturity. And I think like he's a grown man, but he made mistakes, but we're all human, right? And I just think I don't know, like I don't think anything he did was out of maliciousness to or spite. I think he was just he's a man child who made mistakes, and I think okay, fair enough. He got sanctioned and he got dealt with. Like that's in the past, it's dealt with, and I think you could see what I read from that on his face was like, damn, if I had another roll of the dice, how different I'd have behaved. That's how I kind of read into it. And I get
Yeah,
it,
but
like
I
he had
don't
his
think he would have
chance,
fit
but
in because I think
no,
the
no,
way
no.
the team we
I
were
agree.
building, right? I think they
Yeah,
would have got him out regardless, is what
no,
I've
I agree. I
understood
guess
from
I'm
Arteta's plans.
to like the point of there's been two Arsenal fans this week.
Yeah.
I'm more on the sympathetic side of things. Like I don't think anything he did was out of maliciousness towards Arsenal Football Club, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. Obviously, Mike says he was late for the North London derby as captain, unacceptable. That's fair. I think that is a fair point.
But again, I don't think I think he was just an idiot. Like I think
That's
it's
what I mean. I think he's just a
yeah,
man child rather than
yeah.
malicious. That's exactly where I'm going with that. But yeah, on that note, afternoon, Mike. Good to see you, Terence. Shalom,
Hey
buddy.
guys,
Got FPL sandwich. Thanks for tuning in. San Calpa's here. Good day. Such a
nice one, mate.
beautiful performance. Um, yeah, so this is a good point. So Xhaka has the same number of goals as Bruno and one assist less than him.
Oh, right,
Come on,
that's
Xhaka,
mad.
you can do more. Yeah, in the Prem this season, he's been on it, mate. And then we have Sankalp just commenting on what you said about such a telling statement. Arsenal, when winning comfortably, are one of the worst teams.
Yeah, I get that was very outlandish, but like, honestly, we're not very good when we're winning. Like I don't think we have that killer in us yet, or like, well, yeah, like I said, I think we're lacking two things. One is the killing, going and getting like what we did against Forest, go score five, kill it off. I still think we're missing that consistently, and then also just kill the game like what City do, just pass it around, take the piss out of the team, but not in a complacent way, in a like drain them. And I think that will come. I'm very confident that will come next season, to be fair, but just not quite there yet.
Yeah, and then just on this, just before we move on to the Newcastle preview, I just thought I'd add what Terence said, which I totally agree with, that Lampard is the worst manager in Premier League history. I honestly just like if you just a final thought on his lineup. I think it was Arsenal Vision, maybe I was listening to, and they were saying like, yeah, he just basically banged on like his three fastest players in attack and was like, we can counter like this, and then forgot that you need a midfield to get the counter going. Like the guy has no fucking clue. He's so
That's what
out
I
of
mean.
his depth.
When
He's
you asked
so
me
fucking out of his depth.
when you asked me like what were the tactics, I couldn't tell you. I literally could not tell you.
That was his
And even
tactic.
with
It was put my three fastest players up front
yeah,
and hope for a counter. Like that.
and
That was
even
it.
with Aubameyang, you can tell like Lampard's a simple mind. It was literally, oh, he'll want to bag against his old team, won't
He
he? Like
said
that's it.
it. He
Oh,
said
did
it. He
he?
said in the press. He said, "Oh,
Did he
like
actually?
Aubameyang will be
I
motivated to
said that
play
tongue in
against his
cheek,
old
but
club." No, he said he literally fucking Lampard said this. No joke in his interview.
no, he is
Oba hasn't
awful.
started since November. How are you
Honest,
putting
yeah.
him in a game against Arsenal because you think he'll be extra motivated? Like that is wild.
He is not conference level. Like everything he's getting is I've got to be careful what I say, but yeah, I think you know what I'm about to get at. But then the rest of it is because of what he's done at Chelsea as a football
Yeah,
player, right? Like, yeah,
yeah. Like obviously as a legendary player, but that kind of has carried him to jobs that maybe you wouldn't normally ever
yeah. He
expect him
shouldn't.
to
He
get on
shouldn't be in this.
qualifications.
Yeah, he shouldn't be in the conversation at all. Even what he did at Derby wasn't that impressive. He basically had Chelsea's best loanees there. Like, and what was it? He took him from sixth to sixth. Like,
Yeah, yeah, like they finished in the same. I think it was fourth to fourth or sixth to sixth, and
yeah,
obviously they
like,
didn't manage to win the playoffs, so they didn't get promoted. So what did he
yeah.
truly achieve there?
He's another. I fucking hate him. So it's good to see him doing shit.
Yeah, no, I'm glad.
Oh, I'm so
He
angry
he is
today.
on a different
I think
planet.
I'm recovering from
Um,
COVID, so
I think Terence is talking about Lampard, but he says he didn't have footballing IQ, but he apparently scored very high in a Mensa test. So
I
maybe
have
he's got
heard that, to be
genius
fair.
IQ, but he just doesn't apply it in football.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know.
I've
Like,
actually heard that. Apparently, he's like very book smart, but like you can,
okay,
it's hard to say like one of the greatest ever goal scoring Premier League midfielders has no football IQ. But as a
yeah, like
manager, I'm
he
gonna
has
say he
football
doesn't.
IQ, manager
As
IQ.
managerial wise, fuck no, he is not there.
Yeah, I think football wise, you can't say that with the records he holds. I guess the question then is, because there isn't too much more to say. We discussed the goals, and obviously we're
Yeah,
disappointed we
on
let
to
Madueke
Newcastle.
score. But yeah, what are we thinking for Sunday? So obviously, I said I'm not even sure if Kivior would start. I'd like to think he will, but is there a world in which Arteta
I've
surprises us again?
so I'm quite confident in my predicted 11. Should I say mine?
Yeah, go for it.
So I think it'll be same. Yeah, obviously Ramsdale in goal. I think the back four is going to be the same. I actually think like
Mhm.
so. He said Gabriel should be fine, and yeah, he should train either today or tomorrow. So I think it's going to be White, Kiwi, or Gabriel and Zinchenko. I've seen a few people on Twitter saying they want Tierney in for Zinchenko. I think that's again a fan want versus what we actually think will happen. So I think it'll be
Yeah,
same back four. I think I thought we didn't really speak about him. I thought Jorginho did well against Chelsea, but I actually think Partey will come back in, and it will be Partey, Odegaard, Xhaka, and I think it's
Mhm.
because of the physicality I'm expecting we'll be up against. Like, yeah, the PTSD from last year. It's going to be a physical midfield battle, and I just think we're going to need Partey in there, as despite how well Jorginho did. And then front three, I'm confident in my logic behind this, but like I may look like a tit. I think it's going to be Saka, Jesus, Trossard again. And the reason why is I think tactically in this game, I think where have we looked susceptible and vulnerable recently? It's like in the basketball matches I keep talking about, right? And when transitions become a thing and stuff. And I just think Trossard gives us from the left, he gives us an element of control that we lack with Martinelli. I think Martinelli enables us to go and be direct and kind of counter and
Mm.
transition ourselves. But I don't think we actually want or need that against Newcastle. I think where they're going to look to press us quite aggressively. And I actually think they're going to look, you know what I said about Kivior's potential limitations? I think we're going to see a lot of this on Sunday where they're going to look to press at an angle where we can't escape and we get boxed into one corner because of the angle. But going back to that point, if they're pressing with their physicality and stuff, I think he may opt for Trossard to give us that level of technical security and keep the
Stay
ball
further up the
popping.
pitch longer. He almost like
Yeah,
how Grealish plays for Man City, right?
yeah,
Like he just like I think even Morris to an extent this year I've noticed the wingers for City they kind of just hold the ball and they
yeah.
just they won't really release unless they know it's going to definitely go into like Haaland to score.
So that's kind of my logic behind what I think the team will be. But yeah, I may be well off, but that's the logic I've arrived at. What about you?
So something I think, and I don't know if I've lost the plot here, is I'm wanting to see Jorginho and Party play together in a double pivot, or like Jorginho in like the Xhaka role, maybe. So I'm wondering if like maybe this
Whoa.
is a game where that would happen. Yeah, well, I did really enjoy watching Jorginho actually last game, and it kind of made me think like he's actually like a lot better defensively than I've given him credit for in the past. I wonder in his younger days, obviously, like when he was before he even came to the Prem and then when he first arrived, he was pretty good. He's obviously not got the same pace anymore. And when I saw our midfield, I was kind of scared. When I saw that Xhaka, Jorginho, Odegaard midfield, I was a bit like, is this like the slowest midfield we've ever started? Like that I've been to a stadium to watch. So I was pleasantly surprised that we were fine, basically. But I would love to see maybe Partey and Jorginho together with Odegaard. I don't know if we will see it in this
You
game,
think he could
but
play
it's definitely
Xhaka's role
something.
then?
That's the thing. I think he might
I
just
don't at all.
fine tune it.
But
No, so I think he might fine
sure.
tune it, as in like just to play it up with it to prevent Newcastle because they have been so strong this season. You know,
Yeah.
they have conceded the least goals in the Prem, and at
Yeah.
home I think they've lost one game, maybe like if that.
I don't know.
So like
Yeah.
this is a serious test for us. I think we've got enough, but I would love to see that,
I
but
would like
I don't
now
know
that
if we
you've said
will.
it, yeah, I'm kind of yeah, what you just said. I think it's something I would like to see a double pivot with Odegaard traditionally as like a 10. of
Like a proper
Jorginho and
10,
Partey.
yeah.
Because but like, I think those three together in a game like this, I think Newcastle would struggle to get the ball off us. And that's what we need, and that's where I think we may
Because then you got
struggle
Zinchenko with
Sunday.
them too, right? So you've got you'll have like Partey and Jorginho together, but then they've also got Zinchenko as an outlet. So they don't, like, Odegaard doesn't
Yeah,
need to worry about being back. Like, he can just let them do first phase. Zinchenko help them get the ball to Odegaard up the top. But I'm not sure if we will
yeah,
see a change of system. But I just, because I've noticed Pep recently, he does have the squad to be able to sometimes tinker the way they play to opponents.
yeah,
And like, he has plan B, plan C. And we seem to just generally have the same plan. And obviously, earlier in
yeah,
the season, it felt like even though teams knew what we were going to do, they still couldn't stop it. But
yeah,
now, in the way we've played recently, I don't think we're going to cut through Newcastle the way we cut through Chelsea. I think that's the bigger test. So with that, I'd
yeah.
love
Me
more
too.
defensive solidity, but I don't know if you will. In terms of the lineup,
I like the thinking there. Yeah, what are
yeah,
you
no,
going
that's
with
my
then if you
thoughts.
have
In
to
terms, so in
kind
the
of go with a
front three,
prediction?
yeah, so the back line, I agree with you. I think as long as Gabriel's fit, I think maybe you're right. Maybe actually Kiwior will start. But if Gabriel isn't fit, then I imagine Kiwior plays left centre back with Holding in right centre back.
Yeah.
Um, there's that kind of Jorginho
Do you see
Xhaka
any
debate.
situation where Tierney comes in or no?
No, I don't think so. I just think that regardless of where we might get exposed by Zinchenko's kind of play further up the pitch, it's a choice because
Yeah,
it enables us to play the Arteta way. And I don't think we'll be able to play the Arteta way otherwise. So the front three, so apart from the Jorginho Xhaka debate between us, where maybe Jorginho again, the only other position I'm wondering is that kind of Trossard Martinelli position. I do think Jesus starts. So it's whether I think Martinelli or Trossard starts. And I can see a world in which you bring on Martinelli against tired legs as a super sub and you start with the controller Trossard. So I think you've talked me into Trossard starting again, and I don't think Jesus is going to be benched for that.
no. I think similar, like, but going with the logic and why Trossard, I think that's why you need Jesus as well because of that. Like, the ball will stick with him. Like, you need him. He's got the physicality as well, right? He's got the physicality and the technical security. So I think we absolutely have to have Jesus start this. But yeah, what you said about Martinelli though, that's something that I was thinking as well. Like, start with that level of control and then bring the level of finishing on. And I think we'll see that a lot in the final four games. I think he's going to use them to, like, according to different game states quite often. Yeah. But so sorry, what was your midfield prediction? Are you going with
So I think
Jorginho
so.
or
I think I'm going to go with the Jorginho over Xhaka. Is like
interesting? You think
that's
he's going
probably
to do
my
it? Yeah.
only change. I think that's my only change in the entire 11 to the
But
11
like, is
you
that
said.
actually, you think that's what he's going to do?
Yeah, I just feel
Fair
like
play.
because I think Arteta rewards players for performances, and like I don't know how Jorginho couldn't start after like what he did to his old club.
Yeah.
Equally, Xhaka got 2 assists, right, and he took the shot for the first goal that Jesus scored. So
Yeah. True.
it's a tough one there. It's like they both did well. So how do you reward both of them? That Party's not going to
Well,
miss
mate.
out. This game
Well,
requires. Well, maybe
well.
he is someone who misses out. Fuck.
Yeah, well, if I ask you that, do you think there's a world in where Party just doesn't start? What's your response to that? Because
I
he
don't
has
know. I
been a
think that's.
bit.
I
He's
know, but I do think that might be crazier than Xhaka not starting. So I still think he'll start. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. No,
yeah. I
I think
agree.
he will. I think he will. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So why don't
Right,
we go to what about our predictions?
the fun part. Yeah, let us know in the chat.
Yeah, so I think Terence is saying Jorginho had a party. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing that. I just don't know if he would do it because maybe he wants Party's kind of physicalness
I
against Newcastle, which are very strong
Yeah,
midfield.
I think without Party in this game, I think we'd get eaten alive. Again, I don't think you can judge the Chelsea game and look at that as a predictive way of how the Newcastle game would go. I think it's two completely different oppositions, two completely different systems. Like, it's a
Mm.
level of tactical aptitude that are like two leagues apart in Newcastle and Chelsea. And if I see Jorginho instead of Partey, I think I'd shit myself a little bit personally, despite how well he did against Chelsea. On that note,
Yeah, no, I know what you
on
mean.
that
Yeah, so
cheery
in
note,
terms,
um,
yeah, so what do I think the scoreline would be? I've been asking you to go first for the last few. I think I I don't know. We just don't keep clean sheets anymore. So yeah, I'm gonna go with I want, like, I don't know if it's just my heart here, but I'm going to go with an Arsenal win and a Newcastle goal. Um, I don't know if we can score three against a team that have conceded like 20 goals all season. So 3-1 is what I want to go with. That's what my heart is saying. But 2-1 seems like the most likely win if we win at all. But I'm going to go for
Interesting.
3-1 anyway. I'm going to go for 3-1 anyway
Okay,
because I'm going to let
I
my
like that.
heart dictate my prediction there.
So, unlike you, I am never letting my heart dictate a result again because
Oh,
I've only done it hand on heart, like hand hand on heart. This season, I've gone with my head on and what I believed was true logic and rationale for every prediction, except one game, which was the City one, where my head said we're going to lose comfortably. And then in my heart, I was like, no, I've watched Fever Pitch. I've watched the 89 film. We're going to do it somehow. And I didn't actually believe it. So I'm never doing that again. And unfortunately, looking at rationale, logic, tactical matchups, I think we're going to lose. Like, if I'm being completely honest, I think the Kiwi or Gabriel thing might get a little bit not exposed, but I think we're going to struggle. I think that's really going to. I think they're going to press us really, really smartly, and we're going to see the limitations of it. And even though I'm saying we need Partey's physical presence in the midfield, I think we're going to lose that midfield battle. I don't know. I worry about that midfield battle. I really do. And don't get me wrong. I don't think we're going to get battered like we did last season, but I think we're just going to fall short. And I'm going 2-1 to the Geordies, unfortunately, which makes me sick saying that. But like I said, I always want to say what I
is that the
actually
first loss that we've
believe.
actually predicted all season between
I
either of
think it
us?
might be, yeah. I need to update that
Is the
spreadsheet.
first
I
loss,
fell
and
behind on it.
we got to game week 36, and it's the first loss we've predicted all season. Wow, what a season we've had as a club! That's how confident we've been all year,
Yeah,
right? That
I
is
feel
crazy.
ill.
So in the
Well,
chat, by the way, so I think Terrace has gone for 2-1 Arsenal, inshallah. Mike has gone for 1-2, which I assume is one for Newcastle as the home team. Cool. All right. Is
nice.
there any questions in the chat? Otherwise, I think to be fair, like we both have a meeting in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, we both got
And
work.
obviously,
Yeah,
apologies for the delay earlier, guys. I had internet installed and the broadband engineer was having major issues trying to connect the cables up. So it really pushed back the start time, unfortunately. But I'm hoping to obviously hear some good things. I know Bobby, who was on the show as a guest recently, he was looking at maybe trying to go watch the game in the away end, but I think some of those ticket prices were quite extortionate. They were like 300 quid or something, which is mental compared to face value. It's like 10 times markup. But hopefully, I thought, the game we did on the Friday night against Southampton was going to be the last game I'd get to see this season live. But then obviously, fortunately, I managed to go catch the Chelsea game live. So that was really nice. And now I might actually be going to the Arsenal Brighton game on the 14th of May, which is my birthday
nice.
weekend. So I need to wait for the
Oh
missus to
wait,
come home and
when's your
find out if
birthday?
I can do it. So it's actually on the Saturday, May 13th, but I'm gonna
I'm
see
the
if
week after you. I'm the 19th.
oh, are you? No way.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a big tourist celebration. So yeah, I'm hoping to get to that. Obviously, I can't go to the Wolves game at home because that's when I'm hosting the big FPL meet up in London. I think it's gonna be the biggest one ever. So there's already nearly 80 RSVPs to say they're attending, which is pretty nuts. I don't think we've ever had 80
That's
plus
wild.
people at the meetup. So we'll see how that goes with the FPL community
I'm
coming
gonna
to
come
watch the
after the
games.
Arsenal game.
Yeah, pop in because obviously a bank holiday, and we're gonna be there till like it shuts, and there's loads of people coming way later, like 8 p.m. and stuff. So like,
Nice.
there's definitely worth coming if anyone's at a stadium and wants to come after. I think no questions, but what we will say is that Terrence's comment of Big Sam has a plan, and I would tend to agree. I hope that he does. I hope he comes out and just takes those points for us because I know Leeds have been dreadful, but come on, Sam, like England's
Park
best
that
ever
fucking
manager.
bus.
That's it. Yeah, honestly,
Mike Bassett,
100% win
4-4
rate.
fucking 2. Come on.
You got to do it for us, man. Please, please. Sam, I will get a poster of you and I will put it on my wall for the
Okay,
stream when we
you don't need to
review
say
the
anything else.
game.
I'm worried what else you'll do.
No, no, no. I'll just put it on the wall and I'll make sure that it's there to celebrate. But sorry we missed you, Delia. We are actually just jumping off now, but we will see you at FPL meets. Yeah, hopefully Hopefully, there's cake left when Clayton arrives after the Emirates. But if not,
Yeah,
we
save
will
me
make
one.
sure we eat. Yeah, we'll save you one slice. But you're gonna have to play beer pong against Delia because she is the reigning champion right now. So I need a partner who's good at that. Hopefully,
Challenge
you're good.
accepted.
Nice one.
I'm not,
Well, lovely
but
to see you
challenge
all.
accepted.
Thank you for tuning in live, guys. Good to see you, Sankalp, Mike, Terence, FPL Sandwich, and Delia. We will see everyone next time. Otherwise, have a good weekend. Up the Arsenal, and hopefully on to another victory as we keep that pressure on.
Nice one. Thanks, everyone. Up the Arsenal. Come on.
Up the Arsenal.